Welcome back to the CNT podcast. My name is Tommy Terrio. I'm here with Justin Yormark and Zach Kokoska.
How's
Thank
it
you for
going?
coming on today. So, do you want to introduce yourself, or I don't know if I could do you justice with your introduction. So, I want to hear your description of yourself.
All right. My name is Zach. I played at Kansas State University college baseball. I recently this year I got drafted in the 10th round of the Major League Draft to the Colorado Rockies. I'm an outfielder, left-handed outfielder, and left-handed hitter, and I'm from Latrobe, Pennsylvania, originally.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. So, we got to go back to the beginning. Baseball is a lifelong journey. So, I just want to ask you, like, where'd your love for baseball start? Where does it all come from?
So I would say it's just been kind of part of my life, my whole life. I started when I was really young, 6 years old, and I got pretty serious with it at around 8 years old when my dad started taking me to private lessons around my area back in Southwest PA because there's not too much baseball talent coming out of that area, and there's not too many opportunities to go to a big school coming out of that area, but we found our way to make it to places to develop me and get me to a high skill set. And I also played a lot of travel ball my whole life and traveled to places like Georgia and Florida and Tennessee and places like that all the time, just to give me opportunities to get better at the game. And eventually, once high school came around, I was ready to play college baseball, committed my junior year. And like I said, I just got drafted this past summer. So it's been a wild ride, but I'm really happy that I'm in the position that I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of following up with probably gonna coming in with the love for baseball is what is your favorite part of baseball?
My favorite part of baseball,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just got to be the competitive atmosphere and stuff like hitting home runs and winning with your team and being with your best friends every day. It's pretty awesome. I'm pretty fortunate and blessed to be able to have, a sport that kids play as my career, and I get paid to do this. So I think that's the best part about it is I don't got to work a desk job. I get to go out and have fun in the sun and hit baseballs for a living. So that's probably my favorite part about it.
Yeah, just enjoying getting paid to do what you love. So,
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. So I guess another thing is like like through your your career, though it has been short, like what's been your favorite moment? Like whether it's at Kansas State or before that, what's been your favorite moment?
I think, well, obviously the moment I got drafted was probably the best, most emotional moment. But at Kansas State, we had a pretty awesome comeback win this year against TCU in the 9th on senior night. And that was pretty awesome. We were down in a 4-run deficit in the bottom of the 9th playing at home. It was our senior night, and our first batter got out in the inning. So we did all this with 1 out. And then we pretty much just rallied and kept hitting. And then we eventually had a walk-off home run to pretty much shut out senior night. And that was an awesome experience. And I couldn't have gone out better. And that was my last game at home for the Wildcats. So that was probably my favorite moment up until the draft for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's super cool. Always walking it off is always fun, but to do it on your last home game in a place that you've spent years playing,
Yeah,
that's gotta be special. What's your biggest goal for your career?
my biggest what?
Your biggest goal?
My goal, obviously, to just have a career in the major leagues and retire with more money than I know what to do with, and be able to support my family and give them an awesome life with the money I've made from the major leagues. And hopefully I get there as quick as possible.
Yeah. And then I guess my next question is, who's your biggest hero, whether it's in baseball or just your life in general?
My biggest influence.
Yeah. I guess that's another way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say definitely my dad. He's always been there to kind of support me and put me in the places that I need to be successful. And when things are going rough, he always knows how to get my mindset back to normal and get me feeling good again. And I always know he has my back, and he'll always be there to support me. So definitely my father.
Hmm. What's your pre-game routine if you have one, or like superstitions or anything?
I always like to, just get a good meal in me, get some good carbs, protein, fuel up the right way, get as hydrated as possible. About 40 minutes before game time, I like to get on the foam roller and roll out a little bit and get loose, and then do my stretches, do my sprints. Couple minutes before game time, usually during like the national anthem, I'll do a lot of visualization, just imagining myself having success and hitting the ball where I wanted to, and hitting the ball over the fence and making all the plays in the outfield. And yeah, that's about it. Then once game time comes, I kind of all the superstitions out the window, and I just go out there and compete.
Yep. Get in the zone.
Yep.
So you had talked about like coming from a region where there really isn't much baseball. There isn't much of anything from that area. So I mean, that's one of the obstacles. But like, what is the biggest obstacle that you think like you've had to overcome to get to where you are now?
I think there's been a decent amount of obstacles. Obviously, coming from Southwest PA, there's not a lot of opportunity to go to a big school. There's not a lot of talent, so it's harder for scouts to see you and get recruited to a big school. My freshman year at Virginia Tech definitely, I think, set me back a little bit. I got an injury there, and I was out for the fall, and then once the spring came around, the coaches didn't really play any of us freshmen. So I decided to get out of there, and I was going to go to a junior college in South Florida, but I got my waiver pass to play right away. And I decided to transfer out to Kansas State with the original coach I committed to at Virginia Tech, because he's the director of operations there now. So I think my freshman year at Virginia Tech definitely set me back when it comes to getting exposed to major league scouts, but it worked out for the better now because I'm in a great position now. But that was hard to get through, but I got through it.
That's obviously having to struggle there is not cool, but getting to then transfer to then go and play with the coach that you originally committed to is pretty cool.
Yeah, because the coaching staff I played under at Virginia Tech wasn't the actual staff I committed to. The staff I committed to, they got fired about a month before I got on campus. So that was kind of hard because the new staff brought in all their recruits, and they weren't going to play any of the old coaches' recruits. So I knew I had to get out of there.
Mm-hmm. So our next question is, what is something that you would add to baseball as a pro player?
Add to baseball?
Mm-hmm.
Well, right now, obviously, just because I'm in that position, I would say better pay for minor leaguers, for sure. Our salary is about $9,000 a year, and we're living poor. Luckily, I just heard that they passed a new legislation that they're going to pay for our housing for minor leaguers now as of 2022. So that's going to help us out a little bit. But I don't know if players in the major leagues can get paid $450 million for 10 years. I think minor league guys should be able to get at least
a livable
30,
wage.
Yeah, 30 grand a year living on minimum wage, but we're even below minimum wage. So
yeah,
I would up the pay for minor leaguers for sure.
Like when I ask that question a lot to people who aren't players in the minors, they always say like add a clock to pitching or something to speed up the game, which would help the game, but something definitely the biggest problem was the minor league pay. Like minor leaguers just aren't being paid a livable wage, especially when they had to pay for their own housing or like I've heard stories of players we've interviewed before who live like 9 people in like a 2 room apartment, and so definitely adding in the paying for the housing will be huge.
Yeah. I don't know too much specifics on it yet, but I'm really hoping that that just works out. And, they put us in a place that isn't just, extremely run down, but, like I said, if they can just help us out at all, we all appreciate it. That's a big deal, that getting past for us, because, not all of us signed for $1 million, in the drafts and everything. Our signing bonus is what we pretty much live off of till we make it to the show. So we're hoping that helps us out a lot.
Yeah. And it's crazy, like Justin alluded to, and like you did as well, like what you guys have to go through working other jobs when you're playing professional baseball. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's rough. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is a business, and the people in the highest position get paid the most. So that just makes minor leaguers more hungry to make it up there, because you're not going to live the life you want to live staying in the minor leagues,
Incentivized to keep fighting for it.
Yep.
And then my last question for you is, so going back more to actually playing baseball, through your experiences, what's been the hardest pitch that you've ever had to try to go against?
Well, my sophomore year at not Virginia Tech, at Kansas State, we actually faced Alex Manoah. He was the Friday night starter for West Virginia. He's pitching in the majors and starting for the Blue Jays now. He was there this whole season. And that guy had the hardest slider I've ever seen in my entire life. That thing, like, his fastball was fast, but his slider was about 86, 87 miles an hour. That just broke right on your hands. And none of us could barely even put it in play against him. And, I guess that's why he made it to the major leagues in about 2 years. But that guy, yeah, he's the real deal. He can pitch. And yeah, that guy's a good player for sure.
Yeah.
All I'll say is that does not sound fun.
No,
Yeah.
it's a very, very hard game. That's why the major league average now for hitters is something like 240, 250 or something like that. So
I mean, kind of picking that off a little bit. Like one of my favorite things about baseball is to be one of the greatest players ever. You have to fail most of the time. Still, like to bat 400 is one of the best things a hitter can do, and that's still failing over 50% of the time.
Sorry, I'm getting a call. I declined it. My bad, guys. Did I lose you there for a second?
You're all
Oh,
good.
okay.
We just lost your video. You're all good.
Yeah, I call from a random person. I'll put on do not disturb. But can you ask me that one more time, please?
Well, it wasn't because I was just going off of what you're saying that the league average is now 240. I was saying how like you can be one of the best players of all time, batting 400, but still failing over half the time.
Yeah. If I'm in the major leagues right now and I'm failing 7 out of 10 times at the plate, I'm making as much as Mike Trout. That's in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And when you don't understand the sport, that sounds extremely just hard to believe, and it makes no sense. But you really understand it once you actually step in the box and try it out yourself, because the pitcher has all the advantage in the world. He's got the ability to choose what he wants to throw, where he wants to throw it. He has scouting reports on all the hitters, on what their weaknesses are and what they can't hit. And lots of times you have bad umpires that pitchers can take their advantage on too, or they can nibble on corners that are balls, but the umpires are giving them strikes. And, plus as a hitter, you could put the perfect swing on the ball. You could hit it perfectly out front and hit a line drive, but it could go right to the center fielder's chest and you're still out. That's why the sport is so hard, is because all the stars need to align for you to succeed.
Mhm.
Every once in a while you'll get jammed or you'll hit one off the end and it'll just flare over an infielder's head and drop for a base hit and stuff. But for the most part, you might get 4 or 5 of those hits a season.
Mhm.
And that's not going to add up once you get 500 ABs in one season.
Yeah.
So,
How,
yeah,
how does like how do you have that mentality then, like to remain confident like in your ability to hit, knowing the fact that even if you're like one of the greatest players of all time, you're still going to fail 6 out of 10 times? Like how do you go into a game knowing that?
I think it's just developed over time. When you're a young player in little league and middle school and high school, uh, it's really hard once you start moving up higher levels and failing more because nobody likes to fail. Nobody wants to go up and fail. And lots of times it's super frustrating because, like I said, you do everything right, you hit the ball perfectly, and it's still an out. And as a younger kid who's not as mature, you're going to get really upset because the game's not paying you back when you're doing all the right things. But now at my level, I'm 23 years old. I've played 4 years of college baseball at pretty much in a Power 5 conference at the highest level there is. And I realized that this sport is just extremely hard and you can do everything right and still fail. And that's just how the game is. And you're just going to have to accept that and be content with it. So my mentality when I step in is, as long as I burrow up the ball, that's all I can control. And then after that, it's completely out of my control once the ball leaves the bat, whether it finds a gap or it gets caught or it squeaks in somewhere or if it goes over the fence, it's completely out of my control. All you can control is just trying to put the barrel on the ball. And once you do that, you just got to think, you succeeded in your head.
Mhm.
And once you develop that mindset, you see your performance and your numbers go way up because you're not as stressing as much. You're not putting so much pressure on yourself and you're not getting down on yourself because the more positive you are, the more positive results will happen.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And again, like I said, it's one of my favorite things about baseball is you have to fail to be able to succeed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So our last
That's why it
question.
happens.
Hmm. So our last question is, what is your favorite thing about being a pro player?
I just think it's the coolest and the best thing about it is, you just get to realize you're in the, top players in the entire world. I think there's some sort of statistic where it's only like 1% of college athletes play professional. And out of high school, it's like 1% of high school athletes play college. So the fact that you made it to the level where you're at now and you're still moving up is, I guess you just feel a good sense of pride in yourself. So that's probably the best thing about it.
I mean, it's cool to hear like you have to like go against all of these odds, and you're like the fact that you're still doing it is amazing.
It is.
Yep. You just gotta stick to it, keep working hard, and all the things will happen that you want to happen. Like the same goes for you guys. You guys want to be big time sports broadcasters or whatever you want to do. It's awesome that you're this young and you're doing stuff like this because you're going to put yourself at such a higher advantage than most other kids who will just start when they probably are in high school or in college or something like that. You guys are going to have a massive advantage over other people because you'll know the game so much better and you'll understand what it takes to be a good broadcaster and the stuff you got to do and the questions to ask and how to talk to people and everything like that. So you just stick to it and eventually things will work out for you.
Hmm. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really enjoyed interviewing you.
Yep. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on. Hey, before we sign off, I hope you enjoyed the interview, but you got to go follow Todd's 2-pack on Instagram. I'll show it off again. It's a one-stop trading card shop. You gotta go. His next baseball break will be live on Instagram on that account on November 11th. And there's still spots. You can still join in the break on eBay. Everything's linked on his account. You gotta go there. And something I forgot to mention last week is he does $1 wheel spins where he'll be live. $1 wheel spin. You'll get a random card and it ships free. It's $1 and you get cards that are up to worth, I believe the best prize is worth 10.
It's a good-
I haven't
good
gone
bang
to
for
one
Mm-hmm.
yet.
your buck.
I'm pretty sure they've been on days where we're either recording or I had to work or I had something. So I haven't been able to go to one yet, but I'm very excited to go to the next one. I'm hoping to go to the next one. So make sure to follow them. Make sure to join in the breaks and tell them that we sent you.
Yep. And we'll see you with all at different live streams throughout what hopefully is the coming years. So we'll see what
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe if you guys go and help support him, telling him you came from us, he'll continue to sponsor us, and we can bring you like a CNT like break where we collab. So make sure if you do buy from him, tell him you came from Cards and Talk.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching once again.